Oh, hey, welcome into the PHNX Rising podcast. Nice to see everyone on a Tuesday. I see someone in the window. It's Miss Emma Clark saying nice
birdie in the
things.
window.
Hey, Emma.
Very nice.
We're live on the podcast. What's going on? How are you?
We can't hear her because she doesn't have a mic.
That's
of
cool.
Course,
oh, wait, hold on. Sorry, one sec. Folks, this is very important. Producer Emma hopping on the podcast. What's up, Emma? How are you?
Oh, I'm doing so good. How are you,
Fantastic. It looked like you were trying to tell us something.
I was just trying to say have a great show.
Thank you. It's certainly what it looked like with your hand
Absolutely
gestures.
what it
Really
was.
appreciate that.
That's what I
For
thought.
those of you listening on audio, Emma was definitely saying that with her hand gestures. But yes, everyone, welcome in again to the PHNX Rising podcast. Gonna be a fun time here. I, of course, am Max Simpson, and I'm joined by the man, the myth, the Sacramento, Mr. Owen Evans. How we doing?
Oh, God, I gotta go to Sacramento.
You don't like that one? No? That's okay. How you feeling today?
How
Feeling
do
good?
we feel about Sacramento, everybody? Let us know in the chat.
You know, my favorite thing about Sacramento?
Leaving Sacramento.
You darn tootin'. Feeling good. I just came off a nice, impressive FIFA victory myself. Actually, a shellacking, as many might say. But it's gonna be a good time, man. Got a great show for you guys tonight. Definitely gonna talk about further in depth about Saturday's draw 1-1 to Colorado Springs Switchbacks. Going to preview a bit of tomorrow's game against Sacramento Republic, and also I heard Rising kind of made a new player signing today.
Yeah, just a bit.
Just a bit.
Just a bit.
No big deal. Just kind of
Aw.
bolstering an attack even further. But, we're going to get it. Have a good time. Logically.
Well, we're gonna get into it. We're not gonna guarantee you a good time.
Fair enough. Well, shall we start with a little recapping further? Colorado Springs Switchbacks.
Yeah, it was bad. No, it was. Let's actually break it down a little bit more, right? As you looked at Phoenix Rising, they came out, I think, at times a little bit ponderous in the first half. Still, I think there was
fair.
still a little bit of overthinking. They often do this in the attack. We've gotten used to it by now. Quite common to see that this team can struggle in attack. Now, I know it's something that you personally, you've looked into some of the things and said you think one of the things is Manuel Arteaga. You look at that last goal and the last game, last goal. Not really the movement
No.
as much as you would have expected, or as much as we've seen more since he got on in form, since he started to perform at a better level, since he really started hitting his stride and was putting goals in multiple games in a row. That's probably a part of it. I would broadly speaking agree. Beyond that, yeah, it was just a struggle, I think, for large parts of that first half. And then you see, as usual, we've gotten used to it by now. We keep telling you, how does Phoenix Rising improve from here? They've got to cut out the mistakes. That's something that we didn't really see them manage to do in that last game. Daniel Crutzen with a ball that can be best described as a hospital pass.
That's a hospital
To
ball.
be honest,
Yeah, 100%. That
all
is
it was.
that's the clinical term.
That's all it was. It was just poor. I'm not really sure how best else to describe it. You're looking there. Okay, you receive the ball from Rios Novo, and the first thing he looks to do is to play this one-touch pass somewhere. But he's doing it to a Kev Lambert who, if you'd been following where Kev was positioned by following through on the play, you're watching where he's gone. He's been drawn out wide. He had to rush back to get the ball back to Rios Novo in the first place. He's out wide at this stage. And you've got the player coming in from Colorado Springs ready to pounce on that one. And it just... You've just got to do better than that. I think it's one of those moments where, look, I think that overall we can have the broader discussion talking about Daniel Crutzen, talking about how he's done in recent weeks and how he's done over the course of the season. I think that broadly speaking, he's been reasonably solid. But these last two games, he's had some very, very poor errors. I mean, they are, as I'm sure people will say in our chat, people have said online, schoolboy errors. Okay? They're things that you expect to be teaching out of kids.
Yeah.
It was... You can't afford to give an opponent that kind of opportunity out of nothing. Pure nothing. There was nothing there. There was no... there was no real, I think, attempt. I mean, as I said there in the chat, Kev didn't have much to work with. He didn't.
Yeah.
Kev was drawn out of position by the ball that he'd played previously. That's fine. But the answer there is that as this fellow centre-back, you've got to be looking. You've got to be aware when you play that kind of a pass deep in your own end, you've got to be aware of where the person you're passing it to is. You've got to be aware of the other players that are pressing you. You can't just kind of one-touch pass it in the way that he did to someone who's not there.
Yeah. Yeah, it's the very interesting thing with Daniel Crutzen. Very much, right? I think he's been a pretty reliable defender. I think he's he's the best distributor center backs that we have. And I think, like, by and large, this entire season, he's been a pretty reliable guy. But, I mean, you've seen it time and time again, again, early in the season, the second match against San Diego Loyal, a ball like this, honestly, a similar-esque nature. These are just balls that are, to your point, hospital balls. And, people are prone to mistakes, I think, especially in an aggressive passing system like this, where you are tasked with playing out the back and not just hoofing it along, which, to his credit, he can definitely play in a nice, corner ball every now and then. But these things aren't a byproduct of playing it out the back. These are just fundamentals. And if you're going to go across the ball, your own goal, playing in the middle of the pitch, first off, the elementary rule of soccer is to not do that. But if you're going to, you need to play it with pace and you need to make sure it gets there. If you're going to miss a ball like that, miss it wide rather than missing it short. And I mean, it just comes down to little things. I know Jake has been saying it before when he's, hopped on the pod, and it's very much like you don't want to see this team rue their chances based off of little things like errors. We saw this against Miami. We saw this in Colorado Springs. We saw this in multiple matches. And again, this is not me saying doom or gloom. This is the end of the world or anything like that. But I would rather, lose to like good teams in good ways rather than like these losses by Rising and these draws, which feel like losses, are just simple errors. That's the part that's incredibly frustrating.
Yeah. I will. You know what? I'm going to hop in here and address, I think we should address a couple of the things that have come up in the chat because they're also really relevant to what happened now. I think Goldman Pat with a really surprised Rising didn't get another centre-back after Stenberg fell through just for coverage / injury form drop. I will say this, by the time that Mo Traore had come in, they knew that Stenberg was struggling with the issues that he had that are keeping him away from the team. I think that when you... I can't say for certain whether they were going to do that anyway. That's something that's harder for me to really put into the perspective here. But I will say that he linked up with the team after it became apparent that Stenberg was not going to be joining them. So maybe if Stenberg's here, you don't have Mo Traore. Sure. I don't know on that front. I will broadly agree that there's perhaps not the centre-back depth that you really want, I think, in that team at the moment. So I don't know on that one. To look at some of the other things here. Talking of kids, a couple of mentions here of this one. Why play Carlitos instead of Jose Andres Hernandez? That's a question, right? Carlos Anguiano. Now, the answer to that is because there was a view from Juan, at least this was what was said after the game on Saturday. There was a view from Juan that you're looking at as someone who, depending on how Oakland...
they all blur together. They
all blur into one. Yep. Depending on how Colorado Springs... There we go. Nice. We'll get it right this time. Depending on how Colorado Springs was setting themselves up, what you were looking at there is someone who could potentially pass through some of those lines. That was the hope.
Yeah.
I'll say this. Look, his passing accuracy was fine. Sure. It wasn't great by the standards of this team necessarily. His passing accuracy in the final third is fine again as well, yes. But you do lose something, to be fair, when you put him out there. Because as much as I will say that Carlitos has improved since last year, I think he has worked on that physical side of his game in ways that have helped a lot.
Yeah.
He's also still, especially compared to someone like Carlos Harvey, relatively weak. Now, I will say, looking at this week, you're going to have to make changes. Yeah. You've got 3 games. You'd have had to make changes on...
Certainly.
Wednesday anyway, because Renzo Zambrano now, having picked up his 8th yellow card against Colorado Springs, will be suspended for the next game.
Yeah.
Devin Izrakovsky and stuff. Devin, I can't give you a team sheet, mate. I can't give you a team sheet. Look, I wish. I don't even know, right? Sometimes we can't tell you because you don't share those things. We don't know what the team sheet is. We really don't know.
Yeah, that's fair. Also not fortune tellers, but no, I mean, we're
not fortune tellers.
Going back to, the Carlitos versus Jose Andres Hernandez. I mean, I think they just give you something different. If I'm kind of looking at the eye test, right? Carlitos maybe more of like, hey, let me try to dribble down a defense, kind of get into those half spaces. Jose Andres Hernandez, a bit more of the progressor of the ball. We've routinely see this guy only wants to play forward. I see good and bad to both. I don't mind.
I'll hop in with one thing here, which is that Carlos Anguiano did not attempt to dribble.
Interesting.
In the last game. Actually, in this one, is going to really make a certain...
Oh, boy.
I'm not sure if Michael Vanderplas is in the chat, but this would really make him happy if he was here. Erickson Gallardo attempted 3 dribbles and was successful in none of them. It's the last game.
0 for 3. And maybe that's just the eye test. I mean, I think this one, Jose Andres Hernandez, where they're playing a low block, wouldn't have hurt to have them in there. But I also think, I don't care who you have in there. If it's not Carlos Harvey, it's a tough one. And I think Rising has, I don't think you can like for like replace him. We've gone on length at saying that, but I think if you're going to do a different, if you're not going to like for like replace him, then I don't know. I don't think they have the solution. And that's something where you kind of have to figure it out with your playing style.
Look, Carlos Anguiano won possession 4 times. He lost at 8.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. That gives you a little bit of context
Certainly.
There. To that Colorado Springs game. I think, look, I understand why there was a need for rotation. I will be fair here and say that to me, something that I like about Jose Andres Hernandez when I watch him play is that, yes, he's a smaller guy. Sure. To me, when you compare him with someone like Carlitos here, I think that in Jose Andres Hernandez, you have someone who's perhaps a little bit more street smart in some of what he does. Sure. A little bit more, to me, able to deal with bigger and stronger players around him, perhaps, than Carlitos is.
Sure.
That's something that I quite like about his game. Again, Hernandez is not a big guy. Yeah. You're not putting someone in their midfield who's a big guy if you're putting him out there. But I just feel as though, to me, what I like about Hernandez compared to Carlitos, I see someone who I think has got a little bit more bite to him.
Yeah. I see, to me, I don't even know if I necessarily consider it bite. I think, to your point, it's more... maybe guile, or more like that street smarts of, I think when he's in possession and when he's orchestrating the attack, I feel maybe you're getting, it's less high risk, high reward. I think Carlitos definitely has a couple moments in him, but in a match like that, where you're tasked to break down a low block and with a team that can counter, I don't know if he's the guy in there. Whereas Jose Andres Hernandez, he's not a guy who's not going to play negative often. And when he plays forward, it's crisp. He already knows where he's looking to go before the ball happens. And against a low block where the team's compact and you are seemingly try crosses, where we count 35 crosses and 3 of them connecting, when you keep on going outside and it's not working, you need a guy who knows what he's doing before the ball even happens. And that's something we've seen Jose Andres Hernandez play. I'm curious. Carlos Harvey coming in, ideally playing, more of a impactful role there. But I don't know. I'm looking for someone to step up, because the funny thing is we say Carlos Harvey enjoys a yellow card, which he does. Renzo Zambrano sneakily has a yellow card seemingly every game or every other match.
19 games, 8 yellow cards.
Oh, man, that's something.
That's how you get yourself suspended for a match there.
Hey.
Of course, look, it's no small task now getting to the league threshold. 8 yellow cards. It does take a good bit of effort, that, to be fair.
Yeah.
Given that you're looking at just, 34 games in a season, 8 yellow cards, knowing the good behavior incentive still exists. If you go long enough without picking up a yellow card, they're going to remove one of them for the sake of accumulation. Sure. I'm impressed that he's gotten there this quickly. A little bit surprising to me in some ways, but maybe it shouldn't be. I'm just digging into a few of the numbers here to our earlier point here. So Because you look at possession once, I'm just pulling a few numbers per 90 just to see. As you compare Carlos Anguiano and comparing him to Jose Andres Hernandez. Anguiano wins possession per 90 at a little bit higher. It's 5.62 per 90 compared to Jose Andres Hernandez's 5. He loses possession at a slightly higher rate there as well. Carlos Anguiano losing possession per 90 of 9.75 compared to Jose Andres Hernandez's 8.75, which is actually, intriguingly enough, the lowest per 90 on the team with the exception of Rocco Rios Nova. You look at things like duels 1 per 90, and what you will see is that Carlos Anguiano, Jose Andres Hernandez, pretty similar.
Yeah.
Aerial duels 1, not something where you'd expect a great deal of success by either. And I'm going to be honest to you, it isn't, although Carlos Anguiano does win a few more balls in the air, 0.38 per 90, compared to Jose Andres Hernandez's 0.14. And then when you look at the tackle, you look at how they are in the tackle in terms of tackles. 1, Jose Andres Hernandez winning about 1.25 tackles per game. Carlos Anguiano, 1.88, which is interesting because those numbers don't necessarily back up what the eye test from what we've seen.
Yeah, it's probably.
But it's interesting. It's interesting.
It's probably a mix of eye tests.
The fact that he doesn't lose possession at a high rate to me is an interesting one.
It's interesting. It's surprising. It's we saw a month or so ago. I think we pulled some stats that Gallardo was one of actually the more progressive assisters and big chance creators in the league. So go figure. You gotta do a mix of both. Say lead to make sure we're on the same page. Oh yeah, who's suspended? That's going to be Renzo Zambrano for again yellow card accumulation. Devin. Bad advice. Do not listen to that man. Also, everyone.
No, if you need a free beer, just tell Max that he owes you a beer.
Yeah,
it's how the rest.
I might give you guys a beer. Okay,
Max
we had to put that on. We had to put that on, producer Jacob. Okay, for sure. Well, you guys could leave a like button. That might help with certain someone on this podcast buying beers. But what type of beers I would be buying you? It'd be one of our friends from our friends at Four Peaks.
I just need to say here now, Max, you've got your Four Peaks beers there. You haven't taken the cap off that beer.
I feel this
man never drank a Four Peaks in his life.
That's absolutely not true.
It's not true.
If you look at the archives, I have drinking copious Four Peaks beers, and I will be drinking.
He's a fraud.
I do not owe anyone enough beers.
Max
actually, wait, Max. Yeah, no, I don't know anything. No, if I were to owe beers, which I don't, I'll be giving my friends Four Peaks, right? Lots of different choices. You were trying the Super Juicy IPA.
The Lotus Hopped Super Juicy IPA from the Arizona Staycation IPA series.
How is it?
Interesting. It's different. It's definitely very different. I'm seeing if there's any more description on here to give people. It's a strong one. I'll give it that. 7.1%.
Yeah,
it's not a weak beer.
That'll do. But yes,
that'll do. But it's interesting.
Yeah, friends of Four Peaks. They got the kilt lifters. They got the Holmberg Bound. The tee shots, of course, is always crisp and delicious.
Juicy this one.
I see a super chat that I will not be reading.
You are legally obligated.
I am legally obligated to do nothing. Oh, okay. I will not read super chats to disparage me.
Thank you for the $2 super chat. Remember, beer tomorrow, shots tomorrow. Rumor has it that Max Simpson is a booze dodger, but regardless,
anyway, I will not be dodging booze, but if I were to give booze, it'd be from our friends at Four Peaks. Again, check out Four Peaks at Four Peaks Brew and at Four Peaks Pub.
I love making you uncomfortable, man.
I don't care.
If you buy them some Four Peaks, maybe they'll stop.
They must be 21 years or older to enjoy responsibly. Maybe
provide for the people. They want the Four Peaks beers. You speak so highly of them that they want to try them too. And the way they're going to try them is by you buying them.
Maybe I will follow Devin's advice in the chat and perhaps providing some at Valley Tap Room for those of you who are going.
He's providing free beers tomorrow. Max Simpson,
those who are going. Valley Tap Room. First off, I think we're like 6 RSVPs away from being sold out.
That was 4 hours ago.
And again, it's a free RSVP. So like, if they're even there, try to get your hands on them. But for those of you who are, thank you for everyone who's going to be joining us tomorrow at Valley Tap Room. Again, producer Jacob, throw that thing on screen, por favor. It's going to be the USA versus Netherlands watch party at...
What thing am I throwing on the screen?
Oh my gosh, amateur hour. The USA...
The Max Simpson is buying
the
beers.
USA Netherlands watch party is going to be at Valley Tap Room at 6 p.m. And then right afterwards, it's going to go to around 8 p.m., Rising kicks off, Sacramento Republic, at 8 p.m. You literally get 2 watch parties for the price of none. I can't without myself. It's pretty darn good. But 2 watch parties.
There's no price because Max is buying all of your beers.
2 watch parties for free. Check out our friend. And Four Peaks actually will be there with some sampling with our friends at Valley Tap Room. That's a nice little collaboration
got some free
there.
Beer in there.
There we go. And provide for the people. What you think I do? Look at that, baby. Check out our friends at Valley Tap Room on Instagram at Valley Tap Room and in person off the 202 in Gilbert. Again, we'll see you guys tomorrow. Super fun time. And by the way, I hear if the Wi-Fi is good, producer Jacob is going to be forced to deal with me doing a remote show there. And I'm going to be Ubering, baby. I'm going to be drinking.
You
We're going to have a good time.
never sent me out to test it, so.
No, like my laptop. We're going to talk offline, but
Yeah.
I'll get my way. Don't worry. Don't worry,
let's not
everyone.
bore people with
Don't worry,
technical
everyone. I'll get my way.
details here.
I always get my way with producer Jacob. But yeah, check it out. Valley Tap Room. We'll see you guys tomorrow.
You should have seen Jacob's face on that suggestion.
Anyway, and he hates
But yes, do get to Valley Tap Room. It'll be a
Yes.
good time. You won't have the fun that I'll have in terms of, did you know, to get to the stadium tomorrow, I have to go through the state fair.
Yeah, well,
But it will be a good time nonetheless, so go to Valley
it
Tap
will be a good time. I mean, to get to the stadium, going through the state fair, would you say
Yeah.
that's the best formula to success? Do you see what I did?
I'm just going to
I just-
unhook this XLR.
No, but you can't do that. Anyway, I heard there's a
don't try me, Max.
I heard there's a bit of news rising player signing, and if you didn't hear it, we got
former Sac Republic signing.
a
player
freaking
as well.
graphic on screen, baby.
Dariusz Formella
Ooh, I like when you say it. That's nice.
goes to Rising, joining from
Right.
Oakland roots, where he scored 6 goals in 20 games. Oakland receiving in return Baboucarr Njie.
Yeah. This is something where we were texting last night, and
We were texting on Sunday night about
I mean, yeah.
trying to piece this one together.
Honestly, and you're kind of thinking, right? What do we have in plethora, in variety and cornucopia, if you will, that really could be useful for Oakland? And we were saying, wingbacks, that position, and we were kind of wondering who could be included. You have a lot of different options. I mean, players who are healthy, players who are informed, players who are going, getting back at the right place. Baboucarr Njie, I did not think was going to be a candidate here, and yet here we are.
Why did you not think he was going to be a candidate, Max? Tell the people your thoughts here.
In the sense that it's an interesting pick. Guy is a bit injured and working his way back. But I will say, in our group chat, I did predict that if someone was going to get moved, then here we go.
It's interesting, isn't it?
Yeah.
I think, look, let's focus first of all on what Rising is bringing in. Let's talk a bit about Dariusz Formella. He's a player who has been in the league now for 4 years.
Sure.
2019, I think he came across, wasn't it, for Sacramento Republic?
Sounds about right. 2019. Yes.
He's been around for
He's
a little
over
100
100 USL appearances.
He's got a good number of goals. I mean, this year, as I said, 6 in 20 games, right? Player who...
A good handful against Rising.
He's won in each game against Rising. Look, the thing about Formella here is that he's someone who is, I'd say, a very accurate striker without necessarily being the high percentage shot striker.
Oh, sure.
But he's the guy who manages to make some of those more difficult shots. We saw that in 2 goals against Rising. They weren't close to goal.
Yeah.
They weren't tap-in type goals. This isn't Harry Kane now we're talking about. What we're talking about is someone who's going to take on efforts from sometimes more difficult places and has a high conversion rate at doing so.
Yeah. Relative
to the shots he's taking, where he's taking from, his positioning. He's pretty decent. He's getting what he should, right? And to me, that is exciting to have another player like that in this squad. I do think now, and again, getting into a bit more about Formella, for those of you who don't know, he's kind of a striker, can play as an attacking mid. Under Juan back in Oakland last year, because obviously he was in Oakland last year, Juan was in Oakland last year. Felt like it was a bit awkward sometimes. He didn't score that many goals last year. There was a lot of, I think, soul searching of sorts, trying to find him a position. I think one game he showed up in as a right back.
Yeah.
Okay.
Fluid
is one word. But I tell you what, when you actually look at him and what he's done in this last few months now, I'm honestly intrigued to see how he fits into this squad. I think it's an area that Rising kind of needed. Yeah, they needed a true backup for Arteaga or someone to give him competition at least. But when you look then at if he's playing a little bit further back, I wonder if, as you're looking at things, how is it all going to fit together? Because you got Panos, Gallardo, Trejo.
Yep.
And you've got
Arteaga.
Well, Arteaga's up top, yeah.
Oh, sorry, I thought you were
Fede Varela.
My bad. Whoops.
So you've got those four. Now you've got Dariusz Formella.
Yeah.
How does this fit together? Because you've got a good number of players there who could all be starting. Here's the thing. I don't think you're going to want to drop Trejo. I don't think you're going to want to drop Panos. Do you play Trejo and Panos out wide with Formella in the middle? And I can see that, but I will also say this, which is that Panos to me has skills inside. It's not he's bad as a winger. I don't think that in the slightest.
Yeah, I think he's more valuable.
But I think you get the best out of Panos. If you're playing him in a more central role, letting him be more creative, letting him be a little bit more fluid and move around in those kind of areas and get stuck in where he needs to, rather than having to provide the width. And especially if Rising sticks with the back four, which is what they did last weekend and they've done in previous weeks, admittedly prior to that last weekend without Kev Lambert, kind of forcing that issue. I think that a lot of the width has to come from those wide players up top. So for me, in that case, I don't necessarily want Panos drifting too far centrally. Sure. You'd also lose a lot of the pace of someone like Ericsson Gallardo if you drop him, which again, I know there are some people who are not I wouldn't really complain too much, but it's another thing to note. I think that as you look, though, overall, he's a quality player.
Certainly.
Absolutely a quality player. This is a guy who played under 21s level for Poland. Quality player.
Oh, 100%.
Okay? There is a pedigree there that you realistically, I think, if you are given the opportunity to acquire a player like this,
you do it.
You do it as long as it isn't too harmful to you. And to me, and we'll get in a minute into Babu and Babu's departure and what kind of a hole that leaves or doesn't leave. To me, Baboucarr Njie was a player who, especially given the context, as Edward kind of points out in there, the Njie wearing a boot, not going to quote the rest of what he's saying. Baboucarr Njie not being fit at the moment and likely going to be out for another few weeks. Couple of weeks, maybe 2-3.
I'm not a doctor.
Okay. Yeah. I think that he's a player who was expendable.
Yeah.
In terms of Phoenix Rising's outlook on the rest of the season.
Certainly. I mean, it's one of those things, a bit of a log jam at the outside back position. Kind of what we noted. There's a lot of players who have overperformed, who are coming back into form. I think, looking at Babu as a player, I know he seemed to be a fan favorite to many. I think he always offered a lot of pace, which is something that is incredibly valuable for this team and how they want to play. I think we've discussed at length multiple times that, listen, he had some nice finishes. There were times where you can see spurts of the finishing improving, but I think it was a lot of, I think just that lack of consistency in terms of that crossing ability and how this team wanted to play. Again, we kind of said that often he would beat his man down the line, but then it was, well, where do we go from here? And you saw the wheels turning a bit at certain times, but I think it was, I just think there was that lack of clinicalness at times. I think he definitely offers a lot as a player, but where Rising has excelled is they've had a lot of wingbacks who try to put in a bit more of that crossing ability, and I've seen it done so on a more consistent basis. I think that's where, when you get those outside backs coming in and more players into those positions, whether it's Gabby Torres or Quajo, or Uzo's coming back, Manjoma, all these players, yes, they maybe don't play on predominantly as much on the left side as Babu typically has done, but you're still able to get then those different positions, able to cash in on the moolah, really make sure that they're in a strong position to succeed.
I will say there's a couple of bit of contextual things to this one actually as well.
Yes.
Formella, to my understanding, was on a 2-year deal in Oakland that began last season. Yeah. So I am expecting, but can't confirm, that he will be out of contract. What are you playing with now?
I felt something fell. It's all
something
good.
fell. Okay, well done, Max.
Yeah,
just you can chill.
You can keep going.
So I'm expecting, but can't confirm that he will be out of contract at the end of the year. That's one thing, okay? So that diminishes value.
It does.
I understand that. But when you look at Baboucarr Njie, to me, he's someone who, from Phoenix's perspective, and I say this in the nicest possible way because the implication that I got in terms of you look at the squad, you evaluate all the players on there.
Yeah.
If Phoenix Rising want to achieve the goals that they've set out to achieve, namely they want to host a home playoff game.
Yeah, wow. They got work to do.
They want to finish in top four. They got work to
do.
do. But to me, if that is the game, and that is with the players that they have on this squad, Baboucarr Njie is not a starter on that team.
Yeah.
Any variety.
I don't think you're going to get a lot of argument
quite
there.
a few players that are higher up the pecking order than him, and rightly so. I will add, though, he's a player who definitely brings what I'd call nuisance value off the bench.
Oh, that's true.
Okay? He's someone with a lot of pace.
That's what you do.
You get out there against a tired defense, he's going to run at them and going to cause some problems. Out of the back, he's explosive.
Very much so. He
His
burns defenses. Yeah.
His problem is that while we've been speaking about Dariusz Formella and saying he is someone who's a clinical finisher, Baboucarr Njie was not.
Yeah.
And that was a problem.
Yeah.
You had someone who was very capable of nuisance value, yes, but the question then became, what does he do once he's past there?
Yeah.
We've seen, I think, in people like Eddie Manjoma, okay, even in people like Uzo,
Yeah.
we've seen more end product of some variety, be it a cross.
Gabby Torres.
Gabby Torres,
Yep.
perfect example,
Yep.
Gabby Torres. Okay? We've seen them, they get up there into the final third of the opponent, and they do something successful with it.
Sure.
With Baboucarr Njie, I felt it was a lot more hit and miss.
Yeah.
And more miss sometimes than hit in those positions.
And I think that's the tough part is regardless of needs, if you're able to evaluate players in a trade and say, hey, I'm able to get a guy, even if it's in positions where he's a bit more consistent on his day, I think that's something you look for. I mean, listen, Formella is a guy who he can cause attacking chaos. He can link up incredibly well with the rest of the, I would say, trio in the starting attack right there with Trejo, with Panos, with Arteaga. It gives you so much fluidity in how you play. I mean, really, we've been saying this even since Panos got acquired. Now you have a guy who's really able to orchestrate a bit more in that attacking midfield. It gives opportunity for Trejo, gives it opportunity for Arteaga. Now you bring in a guy of this quality, and I think it's something where whether you had Babu or not, you had a plethora of attacking talent out wide. That was never this team's issue. If you're able to help on the attacking front, I actually very much like how you have, Quajo, Manjoma, Gabby Torres, all these different players that really help give you something a little bit different. And their whole thing is if they're able to finish, you're now able to get on the end of those crosses a little bit more. Something that Ryzen severely struggled with on Saturday. And while Babu was not in that lineup to contribute to those struggling crosses, I think it's one of those things where, again, more often than not, we're looking for consistency. Wasn't really able to do that, but now you have a guy who's able to get on the end of it. Hopefully that helps.
Yeah,
Hopefully that helps.
no, I'd agree.
We have to tell, man.
I will say this, though. One thing I'd say you're going to miss with Baboucarr Njie is I think he was reasonably well regarded off the field, reasonably well liked by a lot of his teammates. You've got to find a way to kind of replace some of that. Now, I'm not saying for a minute that Formella wouldn't be perceived in that same kind of way. But when you looked at Babu, you had someone who was almost always smiling off the field. And that can be big in terms of having that kind of a presence on your team. That can be important to the locker room chemistry.
Certainly.
And it is something that Juan in his comments mentioned about having to kind of replace certain elements of some of that, really.
One of the very few holders that really does help, especially with a new team. Yeah.
Now, I was intrigued by this one. I mean, look, I didn't necessarily expect it to be Njie. I almost had a couple of people who I'd have probably expected over Njie, but it's Njie. So there you go. That's the move.
Yeah, I mean,
again, just one more thing here, and I will say this on Formella again.
Yeah.
Just to speak to that pedigree more, this is a guy who has made over 60 appearances for Poznan.
Yeah.
Okay?
Damn.
That's not a bad level of football right there.
Not at all. I mean,
not a bad level of football.
You noted it before, like you consider him a quality player.
Yep.
Yeah. I consider OGs a quality player in the THC edible space. We love our friends at OG's Brands. Man, they are always up to the quality. Nothing but quality.
Max, why are you doing
Whether it's, the indicas, the sativas, the pink lemonade.
He feels like he has to.
The creams, the fruits. I have the pleasure of doing it.
It's so strange. We could do a normal transition. And talk about these. I know that you do actually enjoy these products.
No, stop ruining it.
You do actually enjoy these products.
Yes, I do. Okay, anyway, you're hijacking that. We're going to cut this here. Anyway, our friends at OG's Brands, even can help my friend Owain here just chill out a bit. He doesn't have to interrupt the ad transitions. Take a little OG's, even the microdose edition. Really helps just chill this guy out. He doesn't need to interrupt. Be so himself. But friends at OG's make you feel like $1,000,000. Not a doctor, but I do recommend it.
You're not a doctor, Max.
I just clarified that.
Let's be clear with this.
I just clarified.
Please tell me we're not going back to the I'm not a this, I'm not a that.
What do you mean? I've done that like 3 times already in this episode. But check out our friends at OG's Brands on Instagram. That is OG's Brands. And also check them out online at ogsbrands.com. To find them at a local dispensary near you, you must be 21 plus years or older to enjoy responsibly.
As Devin is pointing out there, never ask a man his salary, a woman her age, or Max what he said in Dave and Buster's.
Dave? Okay, well, who is David Busters?
It's meant to be Dave and Buster's.
Yeah, see, well, he doesn't even know. I don't know who David Busters is. Sorry, Devin. Anyway.
I really didn't want to make the joke, but Max, why were you in David Buster's?
Why would... Oh my gosh.
Simple things please simple minds.
Jacob Franklin, we're moving on here. I was not the one who said it.
Every time Adman's ad is interrupted, a pony dies. His Coney Man pants.
I don't know why a pony, but you know what can help make that pony come to life is our friends at Circle K. Friends at Circle K can not...
Just, Max, that is the worst one you've done yet.
I'm not an equestrian, but I think that might help. Our friends at Circle K...
You're not an equestrian.
Will help you get back on your horse with a nice Polar Pop to help you refuel, baby.
Equestrian is an adjective, by the way. You can't be an equestrian.
Shoot, I don't know what the...
Oh, no, it can be a noun. It can be a noun, to be fair. Actually, now I found
Thank you.
Extended one. So
that makes sense. Yes, our friends at Circle K will make our friends at Circle K will make you feel absolutely amazing. You don't have to spend a lot of moolah to enjoy what they have if you text code PHNX to 31310. Again, code PHNX. Put it on screen to 31310.
We promise you that this is legit. This isn't just going to be Max sending you ad transitions.
Because I've never promised to buy those one liquid adult beverages, but you can buy yourselves a free Circle K Polar Pop. Again, text PHNX to 31310 for buy one, get one, 3 Polar Pops. It's literally texting something for something free. It's freaking awesome. You get not one, but 2 of them. Circle K, they got the snacks. They got the 4-piece you can buy there. They got everything there. Fuel up on your way to and from Valley Tap Room, especially you need to revive it after, someone might buy you a shot or something. We don't know. We'll see what happens.
Max is buying shots. Max is buying shots.
Check out our friends at Circle K. Again, text PHNX 31310 for buy one, get one free. Polar Pops. Love you, Circle K. Oh, so much. All right. We actually haven't talked too much about Sacramento specifically because, we've kind of been all over the place.
There's been a lot to talk.
It actually has been.
These midweek games are rough on us.
It's a lot. It is a lot. Thinking about Sacramento, we play a bit of a 3-4-3 type formation. They are, you could say, doing quite well at the top of the table, which we don't like to hear, and they have a history with rising. What stands out to you when you think of Sac Republic?
State Fair.
Okay, other than the State Fair.
No, as we look at them, I think someone who's an interesting one is Matt LaGrassa.
Yeah.
Interesting midfield presence.
Oh, former Reno 1868 FC player.
Former Reno 1868 FC player. Yes, off you go, Max. Off you go. But he's someone actually, if you look, he's someone from Sacramento County. He's a local boy. He's been there now since last season. But he's been successful. He's a versatile midfielder who can do a variety of different things. He can be big on winning the ball and those defensive actions and all of that kind of stuff. He can also be big at creating chances as well. He's got a lot of different sides to his game. I think that he's always someone who, if you're coming up against Sacramento Republic, you've got to be cognizant of. You can't just let him run the show in midfield.
Absolutely.
If you do, things are going to go badly pretty quickly.
Yeah. Yeah, no, he's a guy where, you know, for Reno, very much was a kind of like a do everything. I mean, don't get me wrong, he definitely pulled the strings for that club, but he's a bit of a guy. He's a guy who seems to pop up a bit of everywhere. I mean, granted, watching him a good handful of years ago, but even still, he just is a very high soccer IQ type guy. Sac seems to have a lot of those guys on their team, just not someone you can take lightly. I mean, they got people in the Golden Boot race, you know, like it's something where they're a threat. They're a threat.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
They are indeed. Now, someone else who hasn't been in the squad at all lately, Rodrigo Lopez. Now, I'm not expecting to see him play. That's a shame, but it's an absence, and it's worth noting that one because he's someone who Roro Lopez has been really critical to their identity really since 2020.
Yeah, with
1 year exception in there. I think he's someone who you can never really count out. We saw that with the 2021 playoff game when Rising came up against RGV in the first round of the playoffs and conceded a free kick to him after kind of the comments on the commentary in the game, that match broadcast saying, well, he's kind of on the downside of his career.
Yeah.
You know, guys getting on. Yeah.
It'll be interesting. Anything else that jumps out of you for Sac? What to watch for?
They're sloppy lately. Now
they're beatable.
Very sloppy.
Beatable. They're
very
drawable.
sloppy. They haven't won a game in a month. It's over a month now.
Yeah, that's a long time.
Okay. Very, very sloppy. Very, very sloppy. But as you look at some of the things, we look at their last game. I know this is something that we were discussing before coming on the show, and thanks to Reese for picking this out. Crossing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Crossing.
Yeah. What?
Not good.
No, not great.
Not good at all.
Oh,
they
so kind of like
how many crosses was it? Give me the number.
Crosses.
Come on, Max.
What?
How many crosses did they attempt?
Oh, Sac. I don't know. Freaking say for 30.
They actually attempted 13.
I was close. That's why I said 13. Yeah, I said that exactly. Same page. That's cool. Yeah, not too many different attack that Rising plays. Certainly. Yeah, it'll be interesting, man. I think it's one of those things where this is a team at the top of the table, and you can look casuals, be like, oh yeah, cool, top of the table, there for a reason. It's been a bad run of form for them, at least certainly by their standards. Beatable team, short week for them as well. This is a winnable game for Rising. Mm-hmm. Very winnable game. Do you have a score prediction?
Do I have a score
Chat,
prediction?
I would love to know your score predictions as well. Da-da-da.
You know what? Actually, sorry, we forgot before we go on the score prediction, we forgot the biggest bit of banter in this. The referee.
Oh my gosh, yeah, you were mentioning. Yeah,
we were talking about this before the show.
Oh yeah.
The referee for this game, Elvis Izmanovic, and I was wondering why does that name really stick in my head? Beyond the fact that it's Elvis.
Nice.
The thing that's sticking in my head, I'm like, why? You know why? Because as Devin Blackwell points out actually in the chat, I don't know if he's actually reacting to us or the famous handball in Phoenix Rising against Sacramento Republic in 2020 in the first round playoff game. Solomon Asante punches it in the net. Who had the whistle that day? Elvis Izmanovic. I'm going 1-1.
Okay, 1-1. Okay,
and I'm saying Panos with a goal. I will say on this one, I have to Bandita's bit of his thing with Formella there. I will say that I've got a neither confirm nor deny on whether he's actually going to be eligible for selection.
You heard it here first.
There's no insight I can give you.
You heard it here first from Owen Evans. He can neither confirm nor deny. That's official reporting. All right, we'll see. Saley 3-1 Rising. It is Bluebird 1-1. Devin 1-0 Rising. I would also like curious to see who's scoring. Reese 2-1 Rising. Arteaga brace. I have 2-all Rising. I also had an Arteaga brace as well. Goalie man Pats, you're saying Rising has a puncher's chance. I see what you did there. Very clever, very clever. Yeah, it'll be interesting. I feel chat is kind of divided, seeing Rising win pretty predominantly. I don't know. I think this is a tough team. I think you want to win this, absolutely. But especially seeing how they play, like when draw 2-2, I'm thinking there's a lot of chaos. Certainly. Other matches around the USL. Tomorrow, Pittsburgh Riverhounds taking on Indy 11 at 4 p.m. and the Formella-less Oakland Roots taking on Las Vegas Lights at 7 p.m.
No Jai in that game either. I can confirm he's out. He's injured.
Yeah. Going man Pat 2-2. Rising likes drawing too much. Oh, smart man.
One
just like
last
me.
question.
Oh, Devin with 7 yellow cards total in tomorrow's match. That's
Very
That's a nice one. I like that.
I like that.
Yeah.
I will say this now. After the draw on Saturday, what pressure does that add?
Ooh.
Chat, you can hop in as well.
Yeah, because we're about a week away from our typical we're rising, finishing the table, first of the month type discussion. But I don't know, man. We keep on saying there is time in the season, which there very much is, but you are starting to play a tough slate of matches, and
Very tough.
I would say this: you really can you need to start turning these draws into victories, but you really got to. You have to make these away matches count. I want to make sure that everyone understands just these slate of matches that are coming up. Tomorrow at Sac, Saturday at Monterey Bay, next Saturday home at San Antonio, next Saturday after that home at El Paso. It's a tough stretch.
Yeah.
That's a brutal stretch. Yeah.
2 wins in the next 4, Gully Man Pat says.
You don't get the Formella for winning, am I right,
No,
Max?
don't encourage
bang, 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 bang. We love it.
Don't encourage him.
We love it. No, but Bandito's Bluebird, we need 4 points on the road this week. That to me is a fair assessment. It's tough to look at these matches.
If they get 4, I'm saying success.
See, yes. That to me, I
It's a
agree.
good road trip.
So 4 points on this road trip, or as Going Man Pat said, as you said, 2 wins in the next 4. If you can get 4 from this road trip, that puts you up in an incredibly successful position. It's just easier said than done. It's never easy on a short week. You need to. I'm curious if they position a bit to maybe play a strong lineup, no more Carlos Harvey in this. We're going to see what happens, but you got to go for it. Speaking of going for it, the Women's World Cup is going on, and we do have our drawings that we've been promising you a graphic. Other producer Sean finally got around to it, but we have. Again,
he's only picking on him now because he's not here.
No, I'd do it if he was here too. This has everyone's choices in it. Again, you'll see everyone's Twitter handle up top, or X handle, whatever the heck they're calling it these days. Their X handle up top.
We're not calling it X.
We're not calling it.
We're not calling it X.
Yeah, good. The Twitter handle up top with the country they are representing.
The only X we reference on this thing is Reno 1868, an X club.
Nice. But this shows where everyone is currently standing in the table. Whose chances are you liking? Who's sitting pretty, based on how everything's played out so far?
I still think that Michael with Brazil has got a solid outside chance.
Yeah, it's not too bad. A couple others on here, right? We had Japan with quite a throttling. Miss Emma Clark is not sitting too poorly as well. You did mention Brazil. USA Punk Rocks 13. A big match tomorrow. Again, see you guys at Valley Tap Room. But
Japan had a good opener, admittedly, against Zambia.
Yeah, 5-0. 5-0. Brazil with the throttling there. What do we got? Germany with a very impressive performance. Well, I think actually I tweeted this out earlier today. The fun fact, out of the 18 matches that have been played, only one of them have involved both teams scoring. It has been quite a defensive battle at this World Cup.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I will say this, if there's any issues with this graphic, and thank you for pointing that one out. We'll have to double check that one, won't we?
Wow, John. Class. We're not throwing Sean under the bus. Boo. But yeah. Sorry if there's a misprint.
Rumor has it. Yeah, sure.
The guy wears glasses. What do you want from me?
Look, Sean is a guy who joined the D-backs pod, and all of a sudden they got a losing record ever since he's joined them.
Everyone, send your complaints to what was it? Sean underscore
the pause.
Yeah, at Sean underscore the pause.
It's time for him to be DFA'd.
Nice, do it. Yeah, that's tough.
He says it about everyone else.
You ain't wrong. We have went through a lot today. There's so much going on, even going on tomorrow. Anything else we missed? Because you got a flight to catch tomorrow.
No.
Okay.
I think we're about done.
That was weird.
I'm gonna be honest. Yeah.
Cool.
Looking at tomorrow now. Yeah, it's a lovely trip to Sacramento. Remember, for the next 3 shows, we got a show tomorrow post game. Where you will be probably at Valley Tap Room. I'll be up in Sacramento.
Yeah, you will.
We'll be back on Thursday. I won't be here. You will be maybe in here or at home.
Oh, I'll be. Jazz Jacob absolutely stares a hole down at me with a
He'll
lot of
be
blinking.
somewhere in Arizona.
we got to do a pre-record somewhere. So yeah, I mean, I'd prefer you be here, but
Figure it out.
There you go. You better be here.
Figure it
so
out.
he will be here. I will
Go
be
live,
in
actually.
Monterey.
Yeah.
Ready for the game on Saturday.
Oh, that. Yeah. Sorry. I thought we were talking about tomorrow. I spaced out for a second. Anyway, on that note, I have probably too many beers, which I will or will not be buying tomorrow. We'll see what happens. But
Max is buying beers.
Oh, okay.
It says so down here.
that is a horrible medium for audio listeners.
It still says Max is buying beers on the screen.
Okay. Well, we appreciate
Double
everyone.
the games, double the free shots,
I wasn't even
says
at that
Devin.
point. Wasn't even at that point yet. We appreciate everyone joining us, and for everyone who will be joining us tomorrow, as always, you can follow at __Rasmus. Double the fun, double the underscores. Oh my gosh, I said it in
got
reverse.
backwards.
Ah,
And remember,
all right.
before we go,
Yeah.
football's a beautiful game. Isn't
Wait,
it?
no, I haven't even said our wait. I
It's
haven't
even more
I haven't even
beautiful.
said our Twitter handles yet.
Yeah,
You
they
follow
can
me
work
at-
it out. They
follow
know
me
by
at-
now.
No, not everyone. What if you're listening new? You can follow me at Max David Simpson. You can follow him and OJ Evans at 2. Remember, it's the beautiful game, but it's so
it's so much more beautiful
No,
when
don't say it. Don't say it.
you
It's not
go
true.
up to the bar and
No,
you tell them.
Don't do it.
Put them on.